Good morning everybody, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And today I come to you from the rocks, and as you can see, it's morning, it's 5am, pre-sunrise, and we're at the dawn phase of the day where the sun is slowly starting to spread its rays on the horizon. What I'll do is I'll walk down there to Circular Quay to check out what's happening. So we'll do a walk and talk style of vlog again today. And today what we'll do is we'll do a book summary. And the book that I'm going to focus on today is entitled Incognito. And the author is David Eagleman. And I found this book very, very fascinating, as it talks about the brain and how we're wired. And David in his book makes a number of very interesting observations, and we'll just touch on a couple of them in this walk and talk session. So the sorts of things that David talks about in his book are that we are predisposed to certain instincts which are hardwired into us, and we can do tests, we can do things to flush out and show us what those internal biases are. The other thing that he talks about is implied egotism, which means that we love seeing things about ourselves in other people or other products. Another thing he talks about in the book, and we'll touch on as we're talking and walking, is that the brain loves to associate two unrelated items, and the advertising industry has figured this out many times before. But what we can do is we can use it to our advantage. So let's commence with the implied egotism. Implied egotism, according to David Eagleman, is when we look for things that we admire in ourselves, in other objects and other people. The advertisers over the years have used this, as I said before, to their advantage. The cigarette advertisers, the clothing advertisers, the alcohol advertising. Take a sporting star or a high profile celebrity and have them, with a Benson Hedges cigarette or a type of scotch or a motor vehicle. And that implied egotism is in many ways enough for people to go and purchase those products, because the customers want to associate or want to highlight and celebrate a certain aspect of their character or their life, which they see in the star and the product. And what they want to do is they want to cement that relationship and that association and go and purchase that Aston Martin, for example, so that they can be like James Bond. It's quite interesting, actually. But we learn with time. Certain people like certain other people because they're very similar. I think it's probably a survival instinct that we like hanging around with people who are similar to us, who have similar values, who have similar backgrounds, who have similar cultures, who have similar sort of talents. You know, it's that cliquey sort of thing that keeps people together. So that's an interesting observation, that we love people who basically are a reflection of who we are, or who we think we are, or who we want to be. Very interesting indeed. The other thing that David talks about in his book is the other interesting thing, that in terms of our lives, we are in constant battle. He talks about Carl Jung, where he says that we are basically all two people. We are two persons in one body, and you can use that statement to cover a whole range of study and observations, one of which is that we are made up of a conscious and a subconscious aspect. We are made up of emotion and reason, which is in constant battle. We are made up of the constant battle between short-term desires and long-term desires. So the brain, the mind, our human spirit is in constant battle, trying to assess reason over emotion, short-term over long-term, conscious over subconscious. So as you can see, you could probably call it a dance. We are constantly in a dance where we're assessing and reassessing our lives to make sense of the world as it is. But he also mentions something which is very, very interesting, that we are predisposed to certain beliefs, religions, actions, because it's in our instincts. It's hardwired into our DNA, into our bodies, and it's the way we've learnt to survive over time. It's passed down from generation to generation in terms of belief systems, in how we behave and how we socialise. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to us that certain people, certain children are more sociable than others. Certain people, certain children are more competitive than others, because it's something which is in that two persons that makes each and every one of us up. So it's a very, very interesting book. He talks about the power of the brain and the power, of course, of the subconscious. We can sit and talk forever on the brain and how the conscious and subconscious interact. It's a subject which I absolutely love, and it's a subject that I find so fascinating. So basically, you know, we've said this before, the brain is just so powerful, so complex. It has more connections than stars in the universe. I remember going to a seminar years ago with Tony Buzan, who's an authority on mind mapping, the brain, how we learn, and all of those sorts of things. And he said that the brain is the closest thing to infinity, the human brain. And so it's just an absolutely phenomenal feature of us humans, to have a brain, to be able to rationalize, to be able to emotionalize, to be able to balance long term with short term, and to consistently try and make sense of the world. But there is also a danger when we overemphasize one on the other, where we use our rational mind and shut out our emotional side of our bodies, and vice versa. So I guess the key message to young people and to all of us is to strike a balance, and to understand that we have these dualities in battle consistently in our lives, and to make the most of it. Anyway, let's finish up on this topic today with our positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, let's take some lessons from this book summary entitled Incognito by David Eagleman, and understand that we are all wonderful. We have the source of our minds, our brains, and we are in a dance for a dance of beauty. Look at that ferry there, on its way, on its first journey for the day. I don't know which one it is, it's still dark. But let's make the most of this day, and until we chat again tomorrow morning, 5 a.m, stay well. Kia ora pume. From my beautiful, beautiful city of Sydney. As you can see, it's starting to wake up slowly, and we'll be humming along and running at a hectic pace again on another day of our lives, making history again and making the most of what we have. Take care, and until we chat again, yasas, and bye for now.